folks. So, I've wanted to do a Pokemon video for quite a while. I do a bunch of weird crap on my own. Why not make a video?
Memories.
However,
A year ago today, I decided to upload my first video onto this channel. 2 years ago today, I decided to upload my very first YouTube video. That's right, before drawing Fakemon, before the multiversal roommates, I wanted to do Pokemon challenges. If you're a fan of Pokemon, then I'm sure you're no stranger to the idea of playing Pokemon in a way what makes it more difficult. Whether you're limiting the amount of Pokemon you can use, or you're literally removing the concept of EXP and beating the entire Pokemon game without leveling up once. The Pokemon community is amazing at creating Pokemon challenges, and the Pokemon engine itself is so easily to make into a challenge. However, this created a problem for me 2 years ago. I wanted to do Pokemon challenge videos, but with other Pokemon YouTubers taking the spotlight, there wasn't any challenges I could do what was really original, you know? And eventually I came up with the idea of custom solo challenges. The idea of, yes, beating a Pokemon game with only one Pokemon, but instead of using a Pokemon, using a character designed for something completely different. As someone who's been wanting to make games and stories pretty much his entire life, I've had an entire backlog of characters I could use, so that became my new idea. Seeing if I can beat Pokemon using my characters what were not balanced or designed to be in a Pokemon game. The idea was to beat Pokemon Emerald 50 times with 50 different characters, and then maybe at the end release the ROM and let other people do solo runs and everything. Long story short, that didn't really go very far. Turns out people really didn't connect with those old types of videos, and when I turned to doing Fakemon, I didn't really look back. However, there was one idea I had since the very beginning of the channel what I always wanted to do, and I've been working on it pretty much ever since last year when I released the remake Can I Beat FireRed with just a Go instead of Emerald. I am now creating a ROM hack what allows you to see if you can beat Pokemon FireRed with just Goat. But this time, there's going to be a few more characters than just a goat. How many characters? 2, 4, 7, 12, 135 characters. Can you beat Pokemon FireRed doing the Cidal Pokemon Challenge? What is the challenge itself? Well, playing through FireRed, you get given certain gift Pokemon, right? These count as, your starters, the Magikarp, fossils, Lapras, and even Pokemon you may receive in trades. Well, here, they will all be randomized and randomly assigned a character instead, right? Instead of Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle being your starters, when you start a new game, any 3 characters could be your starter. It could be Toad the Alien, Chimmy the Chimney, or Percy the Puppet. And then you will choose your starter, play the game, and instead of buying a Magikarp, again, it'll be randomly assigned a character. So let's say Confuzzle, and so on. The rules are obviously you can't use Pokemon in battle, you can only use these characters. And since each of them will be randomized each time you play, every single playthrough is going to be a different team with different characters. The way I plan for it to be is somewhat like a roguelike. It's up to you if you want to add your own extra rules if characters die like in a Nuzlocke, but if you get a blackout, you need to reset the game and re-randomize everything. So again, it's very roguelike in nature that each time you play, you'll get a new team, see how far you can get into the game before gaming over, or if you can even beat it. And trust me, you might not beat this at first. It's a challenge hack. Every single one of these characters aren't exactly balanced to be in a Pokemon game. You have Cidal the human being, who's basically meant to be me, and spoiler alert, I'm not much of a fighter. Or you've perhaps got another character, like Chimmy the Chimney, who, in her original story and game, she's only an enemy that walks back and forth, so in battle, she can't really do much else. Funnily enough, the only characters that would probably be decent are the ones actually designed to be Pokemon, or Fakemon, like Cleaper, Bubbledy, and Confuzzle. If you've seen this channel, you'll know that they're Fakemon I've already made. Or you have older Fakemon I made, like Burgett and Battenberg, or even characters what were just made for RPGs in general, like Gamboy or Frankie. You've got characters I originally made for horror games, characters I made for visual novels, characters I made for a lot of different games. Each and every character has had somewhat of a long history with me from when I first made them and all the stories they've appeared in, and I've been going through every single one of their stories to make sure that the character in this mod represents them exactly how they should. Like the idea of Duck. Duck's original story idea is that he doesn't belong in the world he lives in. He's from a different game, so to speak. He's a corrupted duck, a glitch, if you will. So, his moveset somewhat reflects that, and he's typeless in Pokemon, reflecting the idea that he shouldn't belong in this mod, the same way he doesn't belong in his own story. Or the Equipmini characters that are heavily inspired by Pikmin. Pikmin, when thrown into a certain flower, can change colour, and the Equipminis can also reflect that. If you have one Equipmini, giving it a certain item will let it transform into any of the other Equipminis in this mod. So if you have one Equipmini, you essentially have access to all of them. Or the idea that most characters can't evolve unless they're specifically animals like the Fakemon, what are known to evolve. For example, Confuzzle will be able to evolve into Surretch and Eccentress. I could go on. There's a lot of effort I'm trying to put into this to make not only each character unique and different compared to every other character, but also just to make sure, I guess for my sake, that the characters truly reflect the character. You know, I truly want these characters to appear in Pokemon as if they didn't belong originally, they were thrown in here through some other means. And hopefully the character's originality will reflect in the game, which will also just make it more fun to strategize and hopefully let you get attached to the characters the same way I am. In the background you can see a test playthrough I did where I gave myself eventually a team of 6 of my characters, and I just want to mention that it was a lot of fun. Obviously I'm going to shell my own product a lot, I've put a lot of time into this already, but since all of these characters are bad, so to speak, I've already calculated pretty much all of their stats, and I don't think any of them are stronger than most of like the end game final evolutions, like even the 3 starters or Rhydon, or I think some are even not as strong as a Rhyhorn. Again, there's characters what weren't designed for RPG, so why would they have a high special attack or special defense when in their story they don't need one, you know? So yeah, since a lot of these characters aren't strong on their own, when you have a team of them, each battle really requires strategy between all 6 of the team members, you know, and to me it added a really unique kind of challenge. Well, I'm really excited to let other people try out at some point. And speaking of letting other people try it out at some point, I should probably mention this is not going to be finished for a while. For the record, I am the only person working on this currently, and as much as I would love to just sit around and do pixel art all day, sadly, university doesn't want me to do that. I know, right? Imagine. So far, I've done around 40 of the front sprites, and again, at the end of this, I would have done 135 pixel art. And that's just for the front sprites. I'd need to do 135 more for the back sprites. And then another 135 more to do their shinies, and another 135 to do the back shinies. And then obviously I need to implement their stats, their abilities, if they get any starting items, their entire moveset. That's the biggest kicker. I need to go through each of the characters, all their stories, which most of them have at least 5 entire stories I read through, check for any references, any attacks they could possibly learn at certain points, and then implement them all in, and then that's just adding them in. Then I'd have to test it, see how easy certain characters are. If they're too easy, make them harder. If they're too hard, make them maybe easier. Probably not. And looking at certain sprites, I tried to recreate the FireRed art style and the Ruby and Sapphire style, and again, some characters just don't look good. I only have, I think it's like 15 colours per character, and you can tell on some characters they were not made to have 15 colours, you know? And it's challenging to make them all into sprites, so at some point I might want to redo them. And hey, let's not rule out the idea that the ROM could always just crash and stop working after a while. The build I've got currently has 10 characters on it, and I had to do that 3 times, because the first 2 times kept inexplicably crashing for some reason. I could not find it out why. But yeah, it takes a lot of time. Even if I already knew all the stats and sprites finished, putting them in still takes a really long time. But if you are excited about it, you know, you have my word that I will try my very best to finish this, you know. Trust me, I've seen the indie scene. I see all these indie developers promising to make games, and you know, they're saying, we're going to delay it one more month until 10 years have passed and the game's cancelled. I really want this to be finished as closely as possible. Having said that, there's always the very likely possibility that Nintendo shuts it down. They're not a huge fan of ROM hacks. But this idea of playing a game several times with different teams and different characters. It's an idea that I've not just been messing around with ROM hacks. I do at some point want to make actual original games with this idea. I just thought it'd be fun to maybe try it out as a somewhat of a tech demo, making a Pokemon ROM hack with it, you know? So yeah, I don't have any specific date on when it'll be finished, but for the record, I've been working on it for about a year, and I've already done, what was it, like 30, 40 of the front sprites. And although I only have 10 characters in the build right now, a lot of the other characters, even the ones I've not actually finished the sprites of, do have a lot of their movesets and stats already figured out. So altogether, I would say we're maybe like, maybe 25%, probably 20% done. We'll call it 18.5% done right now. No, probably closer to 21, 22.1%, I reckon, maybe. It's hard to say at this point. But yeah, I hope you're all excited as I am, because I've been thinking of this idea for, like, it has to be like 5 years. I've had this idea to put a lot of my characters into a ROM hack, and I'm so excited to finally show you all it. Hopefully you're excited, and I want to mention that I am working on a lot of other videos right now. Again, it's a very busy time of year for me. I'm sure you've heard it from every other YouTuber, but it's true. We got loads of Pokemon episodes coming up. Maybe we'll find out where 2 is at some point, eh? And I'm working on my next video game essay. So, again, hopefully you're all looking forward to that. I know I'm looking forward to showing you all it. This has been a great 2 years. I'm so grateful for your support. And recently, literally yesterday, just under the deadline, we got 300 subscribers. Which I know isn't a lot normally, but for me, that's incredible. So from the bottom of my heart, genuinely, thank you all so very much. And again, if you're excited about the mod, this mod thing, please let me know. And if you're interested in maybe helping testing it or anything, you're free to at least put your name down so I can get a list, because we have 135 characters here. We're going to need a lot of testers. So if you are interested, by all means, you're free to let me know. And if you got any questions, again, you're free to let me know. Talk to me in the comments. Do whatever you want. I don't care. Let's celebrate 300 subs and 2 years. Yippee! Thank you all, folks, so much for watching, and I will see you all in a bit. Toodaloo.